Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. It was awesome up here in the upper Midwest. We'll get started here. One of the things we should be thinking about right now is what's happening to the U.S. dollar. The end to U.S. dollar hegemony has arrived. Has arrived. So basically what it's saying is, guys, the dollar is the standard for the world. The dollar is the standard for the world. Is that guaranteed to continue? Is that guaranteed to continue? No. And they've had, the euro actually made a good play about 10 years ago against the dollar to become the world's backing money. How do you say that? Backing currency. But then they had a problem and they stayed with the dollar. But all this money that the U.S. government and the Fed is pumping into the system. The only reason we can do it is because right now the dollar is the standard. So, and that can change at any time. We have to be worried about that. So clearly, if you're looking to generate alpha, if you're hoping to generate a return greater than the market, it is key to have a general idea of the direction of the U.S. dollar. The strong dollar has been the major force pushing equities, commodities, and bonds over the past 6 years. So, yes, the last 6 years, the market has done well. Why? Because what else has done well? The dollar. The dollar. But look at what's happened here in since COVID. So the green is the U.S. dollar, wherever we can find it. Green is the U.S. dollar right here, money stock. So how much are we pumping into how many dollars are we printing compared to the rest of the world right now? Yeah, Mark's got it. Is that a good thing or a bad thing that we're printing dollars way faster than all the other economies out there? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Yeah, it's a very bad thing, very bad thing. U.S. dollar suffers its worst month in a decade. Dollar pain, greenback suffers its worst month, and look at it. That's crazy. The euro rose the most. In the decade this month. I've got to get my brain and drive here. The euro rose the most in a decade this month. The British pound is headed for its best July since 1990, and for the first time this year, every major currency in the world rose against the dollar. It's all thanks to the dollar's 4.6 plunge, its biggest monthly retreat since 2010. The world's reserve currency of choice is already on the back foot when U.S. President Donald Trump raised the idea of delaying elections this year. He added fuel to the rout, was driven by falling U.S. Treasury rates, real yields near all-time lows, and disappointment over America's response to the coronavirus in Europe. Is this a good thing or a bad thing for stocks and our GDP and everything else out there? And yeah, Mark brings it up. Is this an inflationary pressure or a non-inflationary pressure? Dean says, we printed more dollars in the last 6 months more than the previous 20 years. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, inflation. And inflation goes up, what's going to happen to bonds? They're going to get killed. Not a little, but a lot. 5 bold predictions for the decade. This is a different article from Seeking Alpha. Guys, if you don't subscribe to Seeking Alpha, I would highly recommend it. It's one of the best resources for stock information out there. 2010s were an extraordinary decade. The S&P 500 gained more than 250%. Long-term bond values increased by over 100%. Is that how typically these things should perform? Is that typically how these things should perform? That's an average 25% per year for the last decade. That's an average of 10% per year for bonds. That's not even close to how it's supposed to perform. And that is historically how it performs, right? Because it gets way overpriced, and then what happens? Crash. Way overpriced, crash. Stocks are very expensive. In fact, 24.3 times trailing 12-month earnings, and 30.9 times 10-year cyclically adjusted earnings. current valuation of the S&P 500 implies investors should expect a negative 2% annual return for the year. So we ain't looking at no 6 or 7% on average for the rest of the decade. We're looking at what? We're looking at flat. Now, does that mean we're going to get a 0% rate of return every single year for the next 10 years? No, we're likely to see what? A huge correction, 20, 30, 40, 50%. And if it goes down 50%, how much does it have to go back to get around even again? 100%. So then, guess what you got? So if it goes down 50%, it goes up 100%, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 over the next 9 or 8 years, you got an even, break even for the day. I mean, have we seen that in recent times? Is this something that we're looking at historically and saying, oh, that happened in Roman times, or that happened after the 1920s stock market crash? Have we seen that? Yes. We've seen it in 2000s. We saw it in the 2008. So, and guess, that's what we're looking at again. And how do we know that happens? So we know right now that we're out of whack. See, look at what happened in the mid-'80s. Look what happened in the 2000s. We know that. So what'd you make over this time period? If you're looking at the S&P 500, what'd you make from 2000 to 2013? 0. What'd you make from the mid-'80s to the early 90s? 0. So it can't happen. And again, what's happened here is time for what? A reversion to what? Mean. And why did we have such a great last 5 years? Why did we have such a great last 10 years? Well, recently it's been because of the Fed, yes. In the last 3 or 4 months, because the Fed has been pumping so much money into the market. Also, what did the Fed do? For the first time in history, it started backing corporate bonds. Guys, has the United States ever, or the Fed ever, backed corporate bonds before? They were desperate to hold the market up, and not to get political, but there was a reason they were desperate to hold the market up, because they were getting pushed from the top saying we need to hold the market up. But if we take that back, let's not talk about the last 6 months. Let's talk about the last decade. Why, during the last decade, did the market go up? Companies were buying back. Companies were buying back. Corporations have been net purchasers of stock through 2010s. Institutions and retail investors have been net sellers of stocks. Did you know that? Did you know that institutions and retail investors have sold more stocks than bought stocks from 2010 to 2020? Did you know that? It's been corporations that have been buying stocks, pushing stock prices up. Now, here's the big question. Are corporations going to be buying back more? Think COVID-19. What's happened to dividends and what's happened to companies buying their stock right now? Okay. So what's happening right now is volume to the stock market is not up very high. So that means it doesn't take much to push the market up. And who are the doughheads pushing the market up right now? Who are the doughheads pushing the market up right now? Yeah, tech stocks for sure, John. But it's been this whole push from all the unemployed people or the people sitting at home, and the guy from Barstool Sports pushing all of his millions of followers saying, oh, making money in the stock market is easy. Yeah, Robinhood, John. Day traders, exactly. That's what's pushing the market, because there's not been a lot of volume. A lot of people are sitting out right now. So all these doughheads are pushing the price up, even though volume isn't up very high. Is that a dangerous or a non-dangerous thing? That's a very dangerous thing. And here's the biggest danger. Here's the biggest danger. Does the Fed have any room now, any ammunition left in its belt via monetary policy? What are interest rates at right now? Yeah, 0 to 0.25. So how much do they have any juice there to lower interest rates? No. How about fiscal policy? We just talked about, they've already bought corporate bonds, which they've never done in the history of the United States. Do they have any fiscal policy left? We're on what right now? If we go down, the market goes down, what is left to pump into the marketplace to get it going again? Not much. So the only reason I'm saying that is, guys, I'm like anybody else. You look at the market, you say, holy crap, I missed all this. No, you didn't. You know, that you probably heard it before, the analogy that you look at a person and, boy, they look healthy because their cheeks are nice and rosy. They have that healthy complexion. Really, what's happening when you look at that person with the rosy cheeks and that healthy complexion? What's really happening? Yeah, they have a fever, Nick. They're actually sick. It's right before they get sick. Make sense? So I'm just saying, I know it's hard for you. It's hard for your clients to look at that and think, holy crap, I'm missing out on all this stuff. No, you're not. You're sitting on the sideline watching an accident in slow motion. Make sense? So I wanted Missy, thank you, Missy, to kind of bring us up to speed on what's happening with our marketing attempts and the marketing attempts of our guys in general with the system.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. So many of you know that we've spent about the last 7 or so weeks actually testing a variety of different things. We've done 4 separate tests. The first one was an actual postcard campaign with actual mailed pieces, and then we followed up with 3 additional virtual type digital campaigns. And you know, we've obviously been able to collect a lot of data and learn a lot from them. And at the same time, we've of course had lots of agents that have been out trying other things as well. So these are our particular tests that we've tried. And I guess there's some positive in knowing that over our 4 tests, we were able to get about 1,300 people that viewed the video. I should say 1,300 views across 670 people. So those are 670 individual people. 178 of those people actually finished it all the way to the end. The challenge that we've had is actually getting them to book those appointments and obviously want to do the next step, which that's what the whole goal is. So obviously that's a huge fail from that aspect. So that of course has given us a chance to kind of reevaluate things, and you know, we just know we're at a crazy time right now. We're amid COVID and riots, and people don't know if they're going to school or not school, you know, distance learning or what they're doing, you know, elections. There's just a lot of things going on. And so we know that people are interested in the information. We know that they want to get information, but they have become, you know, paralyzed in what to do with the next steps. They're scared. They don't really want to jump into anything unknown at this point. There's plenty of unknown going on right now for them. So, you know, what we have learned from what we see on our tests, and also what we see out and hear out with other marketing organizations, and despite the fact that for, you know, the same number of weeks we were told this is working great, people are getting appointments, what we've heard in reality and watched our agents deal with is, no, they're not getting appointments off of the virtual webinars. They're experiencing exactly
let me jump in there a second
too.
So what Missy's saying is that, guys, we have feelers into 90% of the other marketers, FMOs, and what they're doing. So after 20 years, we've got people who are in those organizations who let us know what's actually happening. So, and with marketing, the marketing companies too, and we also invest and try those other marketing systems. So we've seen many FMOs and marketers in the last a month tell us that their system is working, that they're getting ungodly amounts of people are setting 37 appointments in a month. Guess what we found? One entity said 37 appointments in a month. We know. Guess how many appointments they're setting? 37? Guess what they're setting? None. 0. So why would they do that? Here's why they're doing it, because it sucks out there. As Missy said, we got COVID. We're going to open up. We're going to shut down. The GDP. We got the market going crazy. We got parents trying to decide, hey, can we send kids to school? Can we not send kids to school? We got we got riots. We got we saw the dollars fall. We got all sorts of things happening. So people said, I'm just going to stop and wait to see what happens. So why are these marketers lying? Because they're saying, well, at least if we get people to buy our stuff, they'll be mad at us because they'll find out we lied, but at least we can keep the doors open until all this stuff settles down. And sure, we'll have lost maybe the people who tried us out, the 100, 300, 400 people that tried us out. We'll lose them. They'll never come back because we lied to them, but we still have another 250,000 agents to go after that, and we'll be in business. So we'll go ahead and sacrifice and screw over those 200-300 people that try us out and find out we're lying in order to stay in business long enough to stay with or be able to get at the rest of those 250,000. So that's why they do that. It's not right, but that's why they do that. No, we're getting questions about postcards. Guys, did anybody buy at all? No. Because right now, here's the funny thing. We've got advisors who are having the best year of their career. We've got advisors. Probably about 20% of our guys are saying we're at or have surpassed our best year ever. What are they doing? What are those advisors that are having the best year they've ever had? What are they doing? Yeah. They're going back to their clients and they're getting referrals. So they're finally going back because it's a lot more fun to be a hunter than it is a gatherer. But for the first time in their career, they're going back and really loving their clients, really doing a good job, really doing a thorough analysis, and they're finding business all over the place. And they're having the best year of their lives, and they're getting referrals. So people don't want to move to somebody strange, but they are willing to move to somebody who that already has a great advisor. So they're getting referrals as well. So people are not willing to move to somebody cold right now, but they absolutely are willing to move for referrals. So that I wanted to kind of let you know, we suck, and guess what? Everybody else sucks right now trying to get new people. When I say everybody else, we have some glimmers of hope, which Missy is going to talk about here next.
Yeah, and I'm just going to clarify because there's a ton of questions coming in here. So people are saying, so postcards work best. No, I'm not going to necessarily say that. Postcards look skewed like they look best. And so I've put a note there that says we did the postcard with the pie campaign. We know from those 6 appointments that only one of them actually wanted to talk with us, and that didn't really stand us up. The other 5 somehow were confused about if they were scheduling an appointment to get their pie, whatever that might be. So no, I'm not saying that the postcards were the best. The postcards
okay, wait. Yeah, no, you're right. So you see the first bunch here? The first bunch, we did a postcard and we offered a free pie if they made an appointment with us. These down here, the rest, the digital ones, we did not offer a free pie. They were straight informational on bonds, saying, hey, your bonds are as high as they've ever been, and they're in trouble right now going forward. So that's what the rest of these were. So, and the postcards right here, they got a pie. And like Missy said, 5 out of the 6, all they were worried about is getting the pie, not the financial information. That's why we took the pie off there. Also, the problem with postcards, does anybody understand what the problem with postcards is right now? What's the problem with postcards right now? I've talked about it here last week or the previous week. It's in the news. It's in the news. It's in the news. What's the problem with postcards? What has the presidentially appointed postmaster decided to do with the mail? What's he told all the mail carriers? You don't have to deliver the mail. There's no more overtime. There's no more whatever. So if you don't think you can get your route done, leave all the mail back at the post office that you don't think you can get delivered in a day. So guess what's happened to postage or to mail? It's slowing way up, and things are not getting. And now there's more and more reports of deliverers doing what with the mail. Because if you hear from the top, hey, the mail's not that important, leave what you can't deliver behind, what does that tell you? What does that radio to you? Now, this is not every carrier, but several carriers in the last month, guess what they found them doing? Tom's got it. Tossing it. So we did this postcard thing before that rule came down. Do you think I'd be comfortable doing postcards at this point with those kind of messages being given to the postal carriers? Because it is expensive to do postcards. Make sense? Sorry, Missy.
No, it's okay. So, obviously, guys, this wasn't the exact measurements that we were hoping for, but we've learned a lot. And the biggest thing of this and the feedback that we've learned is that people are not ready to make a decision after one, hit. We obviously are huge believers in drip. We understand that concept, but it's even more evident now. And that these guys that are touting that they're making that happen, that's not happening. We can prove very clearly that people are just not ready to buy after a one hit. So the good news is we are not giving up. We are still testing. We're in the midst of testing a couple of other things. We've also found a couple of other third parties that are kind of doing some things a little bit differently and aren't being used by a lot of other entities, financial entities at this point. So they're kind of new to the industry. And so we're working on some new things as well, both what we're testing in-house and then also looking at these couple of other third parties. The bad news is we've done all the easy stuff, guys. We've done the quick one-touch stuff, and it doesn't work right now. So we have to spend some more time figuring out doing these intensive tests, which just take longer. So we're not going to have more information for you in the next week or two. It's going to be another probably 6 weeks before we are able to see if the progress of the next groups of testing that we're doing are working. So it hasn't all been for naught. We've learned a lot. We haven't gotten exactly where we were hoping to be, but it's not just us. It's what we're hearing with all of the different groups that are out there and the guys that are testing lots of different things. So, rest assured, we're continuing to keep trying, guys, and we're not giving up. It's definitely going to be a longer process here now going into the next month or month and a half for us to get more information, though.
Now, in the next 6 weeks, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, the thing I was going to say is I think the thing that you guys can take heart in is, we all know the story of Thomas Edison, which was, I don't know how many light bulbs he had to test before he found the one that worked. The only people that are going to find a solution are the people who are out there testing and trying different things. As far as I know, we're the only group that's doing that. Everybody else is saying, well, this is what works, and let's cross our fingers and hope it gets better. But let's put our head down and try this one thing. I know it failed 10 times, but maybe the next 10 will be better. There's only one group out there that's trying and testing everything, and that's us, as far as I know. So we're the only ones that have a chance of finding a solution. And
well, I'm sure. And would you talk? Yes. Well, and we've made a lot of progress, but I do want to. Paul said, well, this entity. I'm not going to mention the entity, so Paul knows the entity. Paul mentioned, well, this entity. He's saying that they've got great things and results from his system. So, Jeff, you were on that seminar where he was saying that, hey, we had a guy that's done so well in June, he went out and bought a $156,000 Range Rover. Jeff was on that. We don't mention the name of the entity, but Paul mentioned it in his question. What did you end up finding out when you listened to his seminar about his webinar about how great things were going for him? Because he was doing digital marketing, he was doing webinars. Now what's he doing, Jeff?
Yeah, he's gone away from it, and he's saying, you know what? Guess what we learned? Digital doesn't work. We're back to in-person webinars. I know nobody wants to hear that, but that's all we can do for now.
But guys, how many people are going to show up to in-person? So first of all, that guy did not make enough to buy a $156,000 Range Rover by doing in-person seminars in June. Can we all agree on that?
Well, and even he said on his webinar, you know, attendance is way down, way down. So I don't think it's I'd be surprised if you could even get 3 or 4 people, but that's my opinion. All I know for sure is he exaggerates.
Well, not him, but who?
Everybody.
Yeah, because these guys, the only way they can stay in business is to have people paying them thousands of dollars to market for them. So, like I said earlier, what are they doing? They said, you know what, we're going to lie to 300 people, take their money. We know they'll never do business with us again, but okay, we're still in business a year from now when COVID goes away, and we've got another $250,000 to go back to. So guys, if they're not giving you a guarantee, guess what? In today's marketplace, if they're not giving you a guarantee, guess what? Yes, Bob, that entity. Yeah, today's world, yeah, we're getting a lot of people who've recognized who that entity is, and they're all saying, yeah, tried them, and they're full of BS. So, and it's not them, though. It's everybody. The only thing, and you know what? We suck, too. At least we're doing what, though? Saying you should invest more money in it. Try. It's only your money. It's only your money. Go ahead. Let's get you all full of market. No, we're not going to do that. So, and we do have, so we are trying still with our project. And now we're also trying with 2 third parties, as Missy said, who we know of no other entity is using right now, because they're infants. They know who we are. We've worked with them in the past, but they're still in the trial stages, and we're the only people using them right now to try to. So we've got our project and 2 third-party projects that we're working on right now. But as Missy said, we're starting at ground zero again. So we need about 6 weeks to make that work. In the meantime, if you've got warm lists, by doing this, we found that people will watch these videos. We found, I think I talked to you about 2 or 3 weeks ago, when people send the videos we use with this marketing to their warm list, they're getting unbelievable response from their warm list. It's not working for cold people. It is working for warm people. So if you've got warm lists and you want to send some of these videos out to them, then please, please, please contact our office, and we'll tell you what we've got, because we've got 2 or 3 different warm videos that we can give you, and then you can get those out to people to generate that type of traction, generate that type of value to your clients, value to your warm list, get referrals, and get people in. It's just not working for cold now, but like I said, 20% of our guys are having the year of their life simply through their current clients and referrals. And we've got guys that are doing really well with their they're not doing the time of their life. They're not having the best year of their life, but they're making great money going to their warm list, which is what we need to do right now until we can figure out this cold list thing. And guys, if we find, do I really give a crap if we find a third party? For example, if this entity with the Range Rover, if it was really working, guess what I would tell you guys? If it was really working, guess what I tell you guys? Don't do it. Guess what I tell you? Do it. I'm just trying to save you some money right now, because it ain't working. If we find something that works, we're not going to hide it. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to sing it from the hills, okay? So we're not telling you things don't work. If things were working, we tell you, go do that thing. Why in our right mind would we tell you not to do something if it was working? How do we make money? Do we make money from marketing from you guys? Do we make marketing from money from you guys? No. We make it when you write business. So if there was really something out there working, would we say, hey, nothing's working? What would we say? Do it. Go with these guys. Awesome. So we're not saying this not to, we're just trying to have you keep your powder dry. So when we find that things that works, you all have the powder to go after it. Does that make sense? So are we doing things the right way, the way you want us to do it? Or are we doing things, or should we be out there painting the world as a rosy picture? So I stepped on your toes there, Jeff. Anything else you want to add?
No, the only thing I would tell you is, again, the only person that's going to find the eventual answer is the person that's willing to chase down all the leads. And as far as I know, we're the only ones out there chasing down all the leads.
Yeah, we're not married to any system. We're out there trying. Our feelers are out there, probably 15 different systems. We're trying one system. We're trying two systems. Nobody else, third-party systems, nobody else is trying right now. So we've got our feelers out there, and we're not trying to hang our hat on just one thing. We're trying to find that one thing that works. Then we'll hang our hat on it. Make sense? Coolio. So just a couple of things here, and then we'll finish up. The Journal of Financial Services Professionals. It's time to think more broadly about estate planning. Some of these things we're doing, some we're not. There's more to it than just living trust and estate planning. There's more to it than just living trusts and wills. They talk about in this particular issue of the Journal of Financial Service Professionals journal, 10 ways to broaden and enhance the estate planning process you do. So one of the things you can talk to your clients now about are, and maybe not now during COVID, but to be thinking about is, should you give your inheritance to your kids now, or should you leave it for when you die? So what are the advantages of giving it to them now if they can? I mean, you don't want to make somebody poor, but do you have clients that are sitting on way more, not like they're sitting on, Fort Knox, but they have more money than they'll ever spend? Do you have people like that? Yeah. So would it be, if you don't bring these things up, they'll never they won't think for themselves on it. They could help their adult children when their expenses are high. They could help their grandkids avoid student debt. How much would their grandkids appreciate that? Down payments for their homes, car for grandkids, or heck, if they want to actually enjoy it, take the entire family on vacation. Again, not during COVID, but think about these things, because what's the advantage of doing these things versus dying and leaving a chunk of money? What's the advantage of these things over dying and leaving a chunk of money? Memories, I'd agree with that, Ron. What else? Yep, Nick and Kevin say the same thing. Yes, Tom and Bob. Bob says, see the results right now. Why not benefit from it? Why not see the smiles on their faces? Why not get their gratitude right now? Because when you're dead, can they say thank you to you? When they're dead, can you see their smile? So I'm not saying, and neither is the journal saying you should have them spend money that they can't spend. But if they're at a point in their life where they know they're not going to use that money, start to dole it out now and get the benefits of gratitude, the benefit of the smiles now. That's one thing that you can help your clients with by talking to them about that. The other thing is think about their homes. Do they want to downsize? Can you help them with that? Do you want to tap into your home equity for more income or to finance staying in their home? When people were, and when we say stay in your home, own home, it's not necessarily their home they're living in right now, because what if they have a big home, the kids are gone, and they downsize to another home, or they plan to do that in the next 5 years? So this next question has to do with them staying in a home that they own versus going to assisted care living. What percentage of people would rather stay in the home that they own, whether it's the home they're in now or the home they plan to downsize into? What percentage of people want to stay in that home? Yeah, high 80s, like 87% of them. So talk to them about the possibility that they could tap into their home equity to buy the help they need, whether it's to come in, do the grocery shopping for them, or to come in and cook a bunch of meals and put them in the freezer, to mow their lawn, to shovel their walk, to do the clean. I mean, are there services to do just about everything you need in your home today? Are there people willing to do it? Are there? Guys, is there a service that'll do basically anything you want in your house now? Yeah. So they could talk to them about tapping into their home equity to do those things so they can stay where they want. Do they want to remain in home versus eventually moving to retirement, community, or assisted living? What can they do to make their home more suitable to aging in place? You know, get that shower fixed so they can get in and out of the shower easily. Get that ramp if they need the ramp. Do the things they need to now. What are the costs of each? Is it plausible for them to do that? So that's just something that you could talk about as well, especially if they're in the mid-70s or so. Also, here's a huge thing. Aging parents with lots of stuff and the children who don't want it. Guys, how many of you want your mother's china? If you think about it, how much stuff that your parents have do you want? Let's get everybody to answer this. How much stuff that your parents have do you want? Yeah, not much. But yet they want you to do what? Take it all. So you have to walk through this because has anybody heard of this new trend? It's kind of morbid. How the Swedish death cleaning will organize your life once and for all. Has anybody heard of this trend? So the trend is it's how stressful is it when the kids have to go into a house and it's stuffed full of crap? How stressful is that for the kids? Have you ever? I've got clients and I've had advisors who talk to me about their personal lives where it's taken 6 months to dig out of the house. They can't even sell the house because there's 6 months worth of crap to get through. Has anybody ever heard of that? Yeah, I mean, that stuff happens. So one of the things you could do is to talk to them about, at first blush, it sounds morbid. The Magnuson handles this touchy topic with humor and presents death cleaning as a thoughtful process that ensures family members won't face the burden of digging through mountains of clothing, books, furniture, tchotchkes for later on. If you ever lost a loved one, only to realize you'll have to sort through an entire lifetime of belongings while grieving your loss, you're already aware of how difficult that process can be. Many adult children worry about the amount of possessions their parents have amassed through the years. Magnuson writes, they know if their parents don't take care of their sewing stuff, the children, will have to do it for them. The book can be used as a conversation starter for children to broach a sensitive topic with their aging parents, and also serves as a guide for those starting the process themselves. See, the next thing you talk about is philanthropy. Philanthropy, does that only apply to people with millions of dollars, philanthropy? Or do people with a moderate sum have entities that they do appreciate and want to support, even after their death? I mean, even giving $50,000 to their church or 2% of their net worth to the Boys and Girls Club or whatever it may be, can that, I mean, do they think about that? It's something you should encourage. And these are any of these things need to be done right now, or are they just topics that you can bring up gently on a regular basis? None of these things need to be done now. They're right. They're not urgent. They're important, but not urgent. With more than 6 times as much cash as younger people, older folks look pretty good as targets for criminals who are about to make a quick buck. So the other thing we need to talk about is scams. And did anybody see here where the CIA, the head of the CIA, I think it was about a year ago, the head of the CIA applied to a phishing email and all his personal information was taken. Did you remember that from a year ago? So it happens to smart people. So let your clients know that it's not dummies, it's not old people, it's everybody that can fall prey to this. The reason it's so important for seniors is why? Because young people can fall for it, 40-year-olds can fall for it, 60-year-olds can fall for it. Why is it so important for the seniors to know that this is a problem? They have the money, Nick. That's right. So they're going to be targeted because people assume they have the money. Here's what advisors can do if they suspect a senior is being financially abused or exploited. About half of seniors over age 65 handle their finances on their own. which could make them vulnerable to scams, according to data of AIG Life and Retirement. More than 3 in 10 have no idea how to report elder financial abuse. Seniors over 70 lost an average of $41,000 or $42,000 due to elder abuse, according to the U.S. Consumer Protection Bureau. Hey, Missy, can you just give a 3-minute version of what happened to our friend in Rochester who got duped online?
Absolutely.
By her romancer? And she's not a dumb person. This is a smart gal who was an assistant for a very successful financial advisor.
Yeah, and she had actually lost her husband, and of course, started to kind of just want a companionship and found a person online, and she's a wildly smart woman, and so she just kind of kept talking with him, and before long she was sending him money, and she had done quite well for herself, so she had a good lifestyle and was well taken care of and basically looking at having a pretty nice retirement. But unfortunately, she got completely scammed by this person online who she ended up emptying out her entire retirement account, her entire would have been her retirement account from work, and then her entire retirement other savings accounts. Basically got her to sell her car. She downsized their home, which she was planning to do anyway, but downsized their home.
And did she meet this guy? Did she ever meet this guy?
Never met the guy, but was convinced that he exists and that no one could talk any sense into her at all, that he did not exist, that he's just having her send all of her life savings to him, and he did.
How about her boss? Who was a very nice, gentle soul and who she respected immensely? Did he try to intervene?
He tried to intervene multiple times, saw the handwriting on the wall that this is scary. You can't be sending, him money. Here's, are you sure that this person is really who they say they are? And she was absolutely convinced, without a doubt. Never ever met him, never had even talked about getting, there was always this sort of image that they would maybe get together in person, but she didn't seem to be worried about that and just kept sending him money. Emptied out everything that she had.
Yeah, emotions are way more powerful than intellect. I mean, John here says, last week my retired physics professor client scammed out of $150,000 by people posing as Apple technicians. Guys, very smart people get taken, so it's worth talking to clients about this. It's not because they're feebly minded, it's because they're going to be targeted more. So financial advisors have tools at their disposal to protect all their clients. For instance, financial industry FINRA allows broker dealers to put a hold of up to 15 days on the disbursement of funds from accounts belonging to seniors if they believe the individual is being financially exploited. Firms are also required to ask their retail clients to provide the name and contact information of a trusted contact person who can be contacted in the event of suspected financial exploitation. Should every single one of you have talked to your clients about this? I don't care if you're with FINRA, an RIA, or an insurance professional, should you have this? Now, when you present it to a client, are you doing it because you're going to say, because you can't be trusted with your money? No, all you're saying is what? Things happen. Things happen, and it's good to know that person is there. So the Senior Safe Act, a federal law, protects seniors and their firms from liability when reporting possible exploitation to authorities. Also, how to design a care plan for elderly parents. So this is also how you design your own plan for yourself. There's lots of things you can do. You should have this information. Again, we've done a lot of this stuff for the clients in 20-point checklist, but I would highly recommend you go to this website, the Family Caregiving blog, and look at the plan that they have in place. It's an awesome thing that goes through all sorts of things from what kind of care do you want to be taken care of, professional help. I mean, it's all sorts of things that you should have at least available to your clients. Talk about the end of life preferences. So this percentage of people, the vast majority of people interviewed, almost 80%, said they don't want to be a burden to my family. So where do we address that in the 21-point checklist? Survivor's Guide. Where else? Not to be a burden on the family. Survivor's Guide is one. Absolutely. Where's the other place? All 7 non-financials is exactly right, John. But the other big one is in there is the medical directives. Why the medical directives is one of the biggest things you can do. Remember, I wouldn't wish my medical power of attorney on my worst enemy if it did not include a directive. Because does the directive let the family know, don't completely wipe out my life savings to give me 2 more years. I'm sorry, 2 more years. 2 more years would be okay, but 2 more weeks of life. Should anybody spend wipe out all of their 30 years of work to get an extra 2 years? I keep saying 2 years. 2 weeks of crappy life. Because there's the last 2 weeks, great life when you're in an ICU and they're sticking you with needles, tubes, doing everything possible to save you. Now, so if you don't want that, where do you put that? In the medical directive. Make sense? Also, final arrangements. Is it okay to cremate you? Or do you want an open casket? Do you want to be buried naturally? There's lots of different choices for burial now. Don't make your kids decide. Tell them. And you don't have to tell them now, but leave guidance. Leave guidance. And of course, that's what our Survivor's Guide is for. Also, we've talked about this. The legacy letter. We have this. Now, what the legacy letter is saying is the most important thing that we leave to our kids. Is it the money? Especially when you interview somebody who's 80 years old. Do they believe that the most important thing they're leaving to the kids is money? No. What do they believe? What do they want those kids to know? How many 80-year-olds are writing their memoirs? They want people to know who they are. They want to tell their stories. They want to tell about what they valued in life. They want to tell how they lived their life. They want to tell. See, it's the values. It's their ethics. It's the things that are important to them. That's what they want to leave. And that's what's in the legacy letter. This is something that's a great tool. And remember, we talked about this about a month ago. There's a great tool to open the doors to your places of worship to offer this and a little online webinar for them to use this with their members and their parishioners. It's a place where you share your thoughts and plans with your kids. And again, I understand this is not fun stuff to talk about. It's not fun stuff to talk about. And you shouldn't force it on them because force only causes resistance. Instead, present it in an upbeat manner. I'm here to help you. And don't do it all on the same meeting. Have an agenda in their file that, okay, I've talked about this, I've talked about that. Because here's the thing, guys. Guess how many of my clients filled out the Survivor's Guide when I gave it to them? Very, very few. Very, very few. So now it's the next month or next anniversary review, and I say, hey, did you fill out the Survivor's Guide? Oh no, shoot, we didn't do that. Hey, do you have another one? Yep, I did. And remember, the importance of having this is blah 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 blah. We go through that and have them tell us the importance of having the Survivor's Guide, and we leave it with them. I'm not going to force them to do, because here's the thing: do people want to think about dying? Do people want to think about getting sick? No, they don't. So you can't force them to do these things. But you got to constantly bring them up in a nice, cheery manner, and you should be couching it as a gift. Who's it a gift to? Who are these things a gift to? Who are these things in estate planning a gift to? They're kids. They're kids, they're kids, they're kids. So don't force them to do it, but constantly bring it up, constantly remind them in a nice, cheery manner, and remind them that it's a gift they can give their family. Make sense? That's what. Now, why do we want to talk about it? Well, if it's a gift to their family, guess who we've brought into our family? If it's a gift to their kids, guess who we brought into our professional family? Their kids. And we've said, how many wives leave the financial advisor? How many wives leave the financial advisor? What percentage when their husband dies? Most, yeah, it's in their 80s. It's in the 80%, 70 and 80%. How many kids leave the financial advisor when the parents die? Virtually all of them. Now, I had a great, of the clients that I had that died during the last 3 years I was in business, virtually no kids left me. In fact, I was the first person they called, even before the funeral home. Sometimes the kids called me. Why? Because the parents had told them, you need to call Mike if anything happens. He has all of our important papers. You need to call Mike because he is the person that's the key point. He's going to be the pilot, helps you get through the process. That's what you want to have happen. Make sense? You want to be different from all the other advisors out there. Coolio. So thanks for letting me remind you of this drudgery's work that we don't like to do, but that it's so important to the clients. Investments are sexy. This is boring. But in the end, anybody can do investments. Nobody's doing this other stuff. So do what other advisors refuse to do. Make sense? Super. I appreciate all you guys. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.